All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises and glory and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, the Bayat, the Awadah, the house of David. All right, so as you can see, just got this here video for you. Quick one. It says, breaking. It says Trump versus Macron. France denies U.S. warplanes and Western alliance on the brink. Okay. You see, so there's a lot going on between NATO, right, and the U.S., Babylon the Great. Okay. And you can see the talks and things of that nature and all of the things that they're coming at, like talking about NERO47 and his Department of War. All right, coming at NATO. See, this right here were the tensions between NATO and Babylon the Great. And without further ado, you see, if Satan be divided against himself, how should they stand, right? Let's go here. All right. This is Matthew 12:26. It says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And as you can see, right, you see what's going on between these devils and their talking points about them hating pretty much on pretty much NERO47 hating NATO. You see, let's go here to Daniel real quick. The second chapter, right? Daniel, the second chapter, and let's jump all the way down. Okay. And this is right here. Let's start right here. Daniel 2:41, it says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. You see, it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is mixed with miry clay. Okay, let's go here to Obadiah, right? Obadiah 1 and verse number 7. It says, and all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is no understanding in him. You see that? Okay, so these are the things going on. All right. So, without further ado, let's play this video.
Welcome, President. Your enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people.
Donald Trump has opened a new front, not against Iran, but a key NATO ally. In a sharp public message, the US president accused France of sabotaging American military operations at a critical turning point in the war.
The country of France wouldn't let planes headed to Israel, loaded up with military supplies, fly over French territory. France has been very unhelpful with respect to the butcher of Iran, who has been successfully eliminated. The USA will remember President DJT.
Paris isn't just delaying, they're obstructing. By denying overflight access, France has effectively severed a vital logistical corridor to Israel. This is a calculated signal. France refuses to be drafted into an expanding regional war.
A lot has been shown to the world about what our allies would be willing to do for the United States of America when we undertake an effort of this scope on behalf of the free world. These are missiles that don't even range the United States of America. They range allies and others, and yet when we ask for additional assistance or simple access basing overflight, we get questions or roadblocks or hesitations. And the president's pointing out, you don't have much of an alliance if you have countries that are not willing to stand with you when you need them. And he's simply pointing that out, and ultimately it'll be his decision of what that looks like after this is complete.
But the pressure on Emmanuel Macron isn't just coming from Washington. The streets of Paris are turning volatile. Thousands are marching, demanding a total halt to support and accusing the government of complicity.
We say that France was complicit in the genocide. It did not speak out against the genocide in Gaza. Granted, France has taken certain steps. It recognized the state of Palestine and carried out airstrikes on Gaza. But it has done nothing regarding the Genocide Convention, under which it is obligated to prevent genocide. It is one of the signatory states, and that is what we are asking of France, specifically, to enforce the arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court for war crimes against Netanyahu, and to ensure it is carried out, rather than allowing Prime Minister Netanyahu to pass through France. It must honor its obligations.
We are ashamed of this international community, devoid of any humanity. What kind of moral values are we teaching our children for the future, with governments complicit in the genocidal regime led by a war criminal, convicted by the International Court of Justice, who continues to wage his war of expansion, his war for a greater Israel, to this day?
Despite the heat, Macron is doubling down. He is calling for a moratorium on attacks and a return to the negotiating table, a direct challenge to the US military posture.
This escalation is reckless. I was able to speak with President Trump yesterday, and overnight, he himself called for a halt to all these bombings and attacks on civilian infrastructure, on gas, oil, but also water facilities. And I want to say here that we support the idea of a moratorium on attacks against civilian infrastructure and civilians in this conflict, as well as a rapid de-escalation. And as the region enters a period of religious celebration, I believe that tempers should cool and the fighting should stop, at least for a few days, to try to give negotiations another chance.
This is no longer a diplomatic spat. It's a structural failure. While Washington pushes for military alignment, Europe, led by France, is pulling away. Caught between a hawkish US and a furious domestic public, Macron is holding a line that may ultimately break the Western alliance.
All right, so there you have it. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.